Hello, welcome back to Coffee and Commiseration. This is your host, Kay Steinsapir. If you are joining for the first time, I'm so glad. Thank you for being here. I hope you all are doing okay. It's been a lot. I feel like there is a lot for us to commiserate about. I've got a big cup of coffee here in my new mug from the Fresno Chaffee Zoo. Super cute. Um, yeah, I feel like I've been just kind of like running on empty. You know that song by Jackson Brown? Running on empty. That's me. That's been me. We are finally coming to the end of our month long, spring break where Nate had 2 weeks off, then Eli had 2 weeks off. At the end of this month long extravaganza, Eli got very sick. So he's been sick this last week. And as he started to get better, of course, Nate came down with it because they share a room and they even share a bed. So it's been a lot of fun this last week over here, which is why I haven't been talking to you as much, although I have missed you and wanted to get on and record an episode. So I'm happy to hop on here today, even though I hope you're just listening to me and not watching me because I look like a hot mess. I need to get my hair done. Like I haven't slept. I'm just running on empty, truly. But I want to just keep this going. I will be in our new Team Molly community space starting next week, I believe. As the kids are back in school, I've been, working to set that up, and as they're back in school, I'll be in that space and have a little more, hopefully, time and dedicated space and a setup where I can bring my guests to you because I have a whole lineup of people I want to bring on who have agreed to come on, and I can't wait to share them with you. So that is coming. Stay tuned for that. Today, I wanted to just kind of commiserate about all the happenings that are going on. First, just on the parenting side of things. As I said, the kids have been sick, but just a couple things that just kind of like hurt my mama heart. Eli went to a sports camp this week, although he went on Monday and then he was sick the rest of the week and hasn't been back. But like after I picked him up from the camp, well, first of all, when I picked him up, they're playing like kind of like baseball, but with a kickball. I don't know what you call that. So he was up, bases loaded, and poor thing, and my kids just are not that athletic. Unfortunately, John and I didn't really have the athleticism to pass on to them. I think we were more on we had the smarts, but not the coordination and the athleticism to give to our kids. But hopefully also, and I know this about them, a lot of heart and a lot of love and kindness and compassion as well. But Eli is up and, bases loaded. He misses the first kick. Then he gets the next one and he gets out because they catch the ball. I guess that's how this game works. Like, I guess baseball or softball, they catch it and you're out. So later he said, Mom, I just felt like I didn't really fit in because I wasn't, I was slower than everyone else and I was just not as good at the sports. I said, oh, baby, I said, I'm so proud of you that you know that about yourself, like that you know how you were feeling and you were able to express that so clearly. And we had such a good talk. And, of course, I assured him that this doesn't matter, that everyone's there to have fun. And in fact, he was coming down with an illness. So, of course, he wasn't fast. He was sick. But we didn't know this at the time he was coming down with it. But I just felt bad. And then Nate at the same time, it's just, he's in eighth grade and, eighth grade, it's like just, you're struggling to figure out who you are and to find your people, and everybody is changing and going through puberty, and it's just rough. So I see him struggling with that. And, with him, it's like his whole life, literally, I was diagnosed with cancer when Nate was in kindergarten and Molly was in first grade. So his entire elementary school experience was his mother, and this was right after his brother was born. He got a little brother. Then his mother got very sick with cancer and went through horrendous treatment for several years. Then we had a pandemic that closed down his school and completely upended his entire life. And then his sister died. Then his town burned down. And it's just like, this is all taken place in the span of, whatever, like 8 years for him. It's unbelievable. And I mean, it's made him, I think, a very compassionate, deep thinker, and he's just lived a lot in his short life. And I think it makes him different than some of his peers and struggling to kind of find his people. Um, so you just hate it. You want to I want to, I don't know about you, but I want to step in and try to fix things and try to help. And, when people are mean to my kids and want to message their mom and say, do you know your son's doing this or whatever? And it's like, it's not the right thing to do unless they're truly bullying, which they're not in this case. Um, you know, I really, as I've said, I've mentioned several times here how much I love the Mel Robbins book, The Let Them Theory. I listen to the audio because I can't sit down and read a book. I don't have the time, and I don't have the mental capacity at this point to sit down and focus on a whole book. But I love audiobooks, and I loved listening to the Let Them Theory, and it really has helped me. I gotta say, it's helped me just kind of get into a place of acceptance with other people and not trying to control, and with your kids, not trying to jump in and rescue, unless, as I said, they truly need it, but letting them kind of go through what they need to go through, and just listening and not always trying to control, which, I'm guilty of, I gotta admit. And also just accepting other people. I realize this about my marriage, you guys. I feel really bad actually. But I tried to control John for a long time, and I just didn't accept him for who he was. And I feel bad about that. I really do. He's just a much more laid back person than I am. He's somebody he works so hard during the week and he wants to just lay on the couch sometimes on the weekend. And I'm somebody who wants to be doing. And I feel like that's lazy, to do that. That's just kind of how I was, I don't know, raised. And I have judged him, and I've tried to control him, and I've tried to, I've nagged, and it never ended well. And God, it's taken me 20 years to figure it out. But I'm getting to a better place. And I think we're getting to a better place as a result of me just letting him do his thing and not trying to control and not nagging and not trying to make him like me. Because we're two very strong people, very strong individuals with strong points of view. And I mean, he was never going to listen and do whatever I wanted him to do. It was wasted energy. And conflict and everything. So, I think we're getting to a better place in that regard. And I do love that Let Them theory. So highly recommend that. On the sort of larger front, couple things. I mean, in our local lives, here in Los Angeles, we're dealing with the fire, coming back from that, and it's just absolutely overwhelming. I drove out to Malibu for the first time, and I mean, it's looking at our local like devastation we have in the Palisades is overwhelming, and I take it in more every time I'm there, and I see something else that breaks my heart even more. And then, my God, driving out to Malibu along the PCH was a whole nother level of like, holy fucking shit. Like, we lost all of this too. And you guys haven't seen it because the PCH is closed and they're not, broadcasting what's out there. I mean, it's beyond. And it just gutted me. John's parents live out in Malibu. His mother now, his dad has passed. And I mean, we just have spent so much of our lives like traversing the PCH, going from, Santa Monica, Palisades to Malibu. And since our kids were babies, and so many memories. And it's just absolutely heartbreaking what has happened here in Los Angeles. And so, for me, I realize about myself that I kind of respond to trauma by busying myself, by jumping in, by trying to do. And I did that after Molly died. It's how I coped. It's like, rather than just kind of sit with the pain and grief and anger and sadness and sorrow and rage and all of the things, I busied myself with Team Molly and the foundation, and like sending out a million sweatshirts to people and bags. I mean, it's just like, I couldn't sit with the pain. And eventually it catches up with you. That coping mechanism only works for so long, and then you have to confront that pain, and you have to actually sit with it, and you have to experience it and let yourself feel it. So I tend to do that on a delayed basis. I do all the busyness first, and I seem like I'm coping, and I seem like I'm just, oh my gosh, I'm just doing all the things and, managing and all that. And then it fucking hits me like a ton of bricks that I've been avoiding what I need to actually do. So I'm kind of the same way with the fire. Like, I realize that about myself. I've been busying, trying, and it's also my nature. I want to help. I realize that I'm in a more privileged and fortunate position than many of my neighbors in the Palisades and many, many people in Altadena, because I have a standing house and I have insurance. Many people don't. So I recognize my privilege and I want to help. And I'm doing a lot to try to help. And I'm also busying myself so that I can delay sitting with the pain. So I need to do that. I recognize that about myself. And maybe that's the first step towards, doing what needs to be done. But I am really proud of what we're doing with Molly's Foundation, kind of just really stepping up and serving both Altadena and Palisades residents. We got an opportunity that we felt like we couldn't pass up, to take a space for 11 months. It was a big, big step. It is a big step. It's been a lot for me trying to get it set up. And, it's a lot just pushing ourselves. And I also feel imposter syndrome. I feel like, who am I to do all of this? Like, it's just like, I always felt it when I practiced law. Like, I thought, oh my gosh, if these people, this was before meetings were on Zoom, thank God. I would be on these conference calls with all these like clients and other, lawyers and whatever. And I would sometimes be at home, because I would always leave at like 4:00 in the afternoon, or 3:30, 4:00 to pick up my kids, to pick up Molly and Nate, from daycare. And so I would sometimes have to take calls after that. And there would be times when I would literally walk around the perimeter of our house, and these children would be following me. They'd be fighting. They'd be like arguing, trying to get my attention, whatever. And I would be like muting them and talking to people. And I thought, oh my God, if they could see me, they would know what an imposter I am. But I wasn't an imposter. I was really good at my job, but we feel that, right? Like, especially women, I think we feel that. And I'm sure a lot of them were doing the same thing, by the way. I'm sure a lot of them were also juggling their lives and, also whatever, had their kids fighting in the background, which, sorry, someone's here to pick up the dog and the door is beeping. This is a real life podcast over here. There's no editing, as you know, there's no professional anything. Um, anyway, I digress, but we're taking big steps, with the foundation. I'm so frustrated because we applied for a small business loan, which nonprofits are also eligible for, which we actually really need. And It's just maddening. Like, we qualify for it, but every time you like don't respond immediately to the SBA, and you know me, I'm on it. I'm checking my emails, I'm getting back to them, whatever. It's like, if you don't upload something immediately, and I don't even have a printer set up because I'm displaced and I don't have anything, and it's just madness. They close out your application and you have to start over. So it's just, I mean, I'm going absolutely crazy, but we actually need the loan because we're doing all of these things. So our space, which I can't wait to show you guys, is so great, and it's centrally located in LA. And there will be like new clothing and personal care items and stuff there, available for fire victims throughout LA to pick up anytime at their convenience. There will be lawyers there doing pro bono work, not me, because I don't practice law anymore. But we are providing space for legal aid to do their thing, to meet with people, to give them help. We're going to do a whole series of programming things, like, a lot of people want to do things for the community. They want to do art classes. They want to do cooking classes. They want to do healing, sound baths, meditation. Experts like insurance people, lawyers, all of these, remediation experts want to do, meetings in person, but there just isn't space, and people are displaced and scattered. So we are providing physical space for people to come together and actually do that work. And I'm super proud of it, although I feel ridiculous also because I'm in this office building where there's all these normal professional people, accountants and lawyers and business people. And then there's Kay, the Molly Steinsapier Foundation, like setting up shop in a totally atypical, like, if you see our offices, I can't wait to show you. It's bright, it's youthful, it's colorful, it's fun. We have a room set up for kids to just we have tons of books that were donated. So there's tons of reading material for people to take and enjoy. So that while the adults are there doing the things they need to do, which is hard, the kids are occupied and they're happy, and they can take things, do art projects and take things home. So it's actually really great, but it's a lot, and I often think I've bit off more than I can chew, which I may have. Stay tuned. So the last thing I want to talk about is just broader, even broader, zooming out. So I started with my personal stuff. I went on to the local, LA stuff. And now I want to zoom out to the broader, like, things that are happening in the world. And I have talked about this before. I'm just so dismayed. I'm so frightened by, I'm so enraged by what is happening to our government, to our society. I'm so fearful as a mom of what kind of world our kids are going to inherit. I'm just beside myself about it. As I said, have never supported Donald Trump. I'm sure some of you listening have. I don't know, but I want to be able to talk to everyone. I've said, I'm curious about everyone. I want to try to understand, like, why Democrats didn't offer a viable alternative to this, because this is what we, people like me and other people who warned against Donald Trump for years warned about, and it's beyond. I mean, it's so bad. And I don't know if everyone's aware, but like, he's just literally flagrantly disregarding our Constitution. And I think we've got to get back to a place where in this country, we teach our kids more about civics, and we have a greater appreciation for our system of government, which is so special and so unique, and our checks and balances. And I've always had a passion for that. I'm like one of these people that was like the nerd in the back of the government class. Like while everyone was goofing off, I was like reading and studying for the AP exam because I'm into this kind of stuff. But it's just so important, and I think we're about to see on a broader scale, and it's about to really impact people's lives in a very, very important, very tragic way. Um, why these things matter so much. Trump is literally just like taking people off the streets and sending them off to a foreign prison without any due process. And if he can do that to one person, he can do that to anybody. And he has said he plans to. I mean, if we can say one thing about Trump, he has told us all along what he planned to do, and he's doing it. He's, kind of like Hamas. It's like they always said what they were going to do, and they are doing it. They want to do it. They did it, and that's Trump. I mean, he says what he means in some instances. I mean, he's full of shit, but with regard to like his plans for a second term, I feel like he fucking told people what he was planning to do, and now he's just rolling it out. And a lot of people didn't take him at his word. Oh, he's just Trump being Trump. He's just bullshitting. He's just funny. He's just, saying things, and then he's going to negotiate a deal. It's like, yeah, no, he's not. No, he is not. And we're about to experience why our system of government matters so much in a way that hurts people, unfortunately. And it's going to hurt the people who voted for him more than anybody in some instances. People voted for him because they were unhappy with the economy. And he is tanking the economy, like literally. And we're not going to roll this back. Like, it may be that the stock market rebounds on some days, and, it seems to be normalizing and okay. But like, he has created a situation where America is no longer trusted and reliable. And the brand associated with our country, with the United States of America, has taken a huge, huge dive. People don't want to come here anymore. I think there's like 800,000 fewer Canadians came here last month than they normally do. And understandably so, because Trump has insulted and demeaned and literally taken acts of aggression towards our greatest friends and allies and trading partners, relationships that took decades to build. And he has just come in here, and in the first 100 days of his administration, he has literally taken a chainsaw. Elon Musk has taken a chainsaw to all these programs that people need. And of course, there's waste that needs to be addressed. Of course there is. But this is not how you do it. I mean, nobody can think this is how you do this. Like, it's absolute insanity. But to go and just literally like start trade wars with our friends is just insane. Like, no one in their right mind thinks this is a good idea, but no one around Trump is willing to tell him the truth that this is fucking insane, batshit crazy, and it's destroying the US economy, and it will have long-term impacts. I don't know about you, but I have been trying to like this, now we have to replace all the contents of our home, and we're in a temporary living situation where this place is furnished. So I didn't need to buy stuff here. But we have to move soon, but we don't exactly know when or where. But I've been like, shit, I better buy these things now because like the prices are going to go way up. Although I don't really have a place to put them. And I don't even know when my insurance is going to pay. But like, I'm just thinking, oh my God, and I know a lot of people are doing the same thing. Like the auto sales went up last month by a lot because people are like, holy shit, everything's going to start costing more. And people can't afford that. And that's not what they voted for. It's the opposite of what they voted for. So, I am getting into the venting. I know one person who reviewed this podcast didn't like venting, but, you know, sorry, there's a lot that I've got to vent about. And that's why this podcast is called Coffee and Commiseration. We're here to commiserate about life, which right at this moment involves some pretty difficult, scary things for a lot of people. So, I try to bring you resilience and positivity and life affirming things and how we choose to respond to the difficult things that happen to us in life. But we've also got to be honest about the difficult things and recognize them. As I said, I'm someone who hasn't always been able to sit with the hard things and just actually feel them, and instead have busied myself and exhausted myself with 1,000 different little projects, which, are difficult for me. And then I get exhausted. Then the pain that I live with from the cancer treatment I have flares up in a way that becomes like unbearable. So yeah, there's just a lot of difficulty for a lot of people right now. And if that's you, which I imagine it is for many of you, I see you. I see you, and I'm sorry. And we're going to have to band together. I don't see how we continue with this administration for 3.5 plus whatever years. I just don't see how it happens. I mean, I think America is going to be unrecognizable by the end of this. And I just, don't know what I think. Like a lot of people, I'm sort of paralyzed by like, what do we do? Like I tried to do everything. Kamala Harris was not my ideal candidate, but I knew I've had a sense that, Trump was going to do a lot of these things he said he was going to do. And I found it horrifying and terrifying. And so I did everything I could to get everyone I possibly could to vote for Kamala Harris. And I like a lot of people, it's like I think we're all exhausted and we are just bewildered. And in some instances, like I just feel like, what do we do next? How do we combat this? I try to focus on what I can control and positive change I can impact in my daily life. And I do that every day. But I also feel like, I mean, why are we not just like taking to the streets, like in massive numbers to take this country back? Like, what are we doing to stop this? I was happy to see that one senator go down and meet with Kilmar down in El Salvador and see that he was okay and talk to him. I mean, I feel like we've got to do more of that. Just, hey, get on a plane and go down there. Do something. I think we all feel that energy, like just do something, do anything. To try and make a difference, to try and stop this. And we can't just sit back idly and passively as like our way of life is destroyed and as people are hurt and as our constitution is disregarded and Trump just says fuck you to the courts. I mean, we can't do that. So I'm all ears. I please in the comments, tell me what your thoughts are on this subject. What are you doing? Like, I know most of you who are listening to this share a lot of my feelings, or else you probably wouldn't be tuning in, since we live in divided times, and our social media algorithms just feed us more and more of the same. So I'm assuming a lot of you who have found me, also share some of these feelings. So I just wonder what you all are doing. How do we stay sane in our own lives? How do we control what we can control? And also, how do we impact? Like, how do we organize and band together and try to change the trajectory that our country is on? Because I don't know where this leads us. And I'm so worried for our kids. I know most of you probably are moms, or dads. And I'm dismayed and I'm so frightened for our kids. So let me know what you guys are doing. I hope you have a good weekend. We're doing a big Team Molly event for the fire victims, so I'm excited for that. My sister, my niece are coming down to help. They always show up. I'm so grateful for that. They too have been through so much in their lives, and they're young, and just life has never been easy for them, and yet they come and help us, and they my sister Michelle like just does everything she possibly can for the Molly Stein Superior Foundation. Shell, I love you. I'm so grateful for you. Um, so stay tuned. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks for commiserating with me. I have missed you all, and I can't wait to be back with you next week, hopefully, when I have calmed down. Kids are back in school. They are well. Let's, let's hope. And I'm in my new space, and I can bring my guests to you. I can't wait. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in, and take good care of yourselves.